So if you hand it to somebody, this is basically meaning to say that this person, you're handing it to them because they've been very successful or very skillful in what they did, and you're acknowledging that somebody has a particular ability or they have achieved something good. You're saying basically, well done, I have to hand it to you, that was great.
So he had a really realistic approach to the way someone probably would behave if they have autism. Now, an approach is a way of dealing with something or a way of doing or thinking about something. For example, we can say the teachers used a positive approach to encourage students to study more. So they use like a more positive way to say, okay, guys, you should try to study instead of making people feel like, oh man, I gotta do that.
Yeah, or scaring them like, oh no, if I fail, then it'll be bad. Instead, well, if you succeed, it'll be good. That's a better approach. So because this book, as Tiffany said, it's narrated by somebody with this problem, because of that, this book helps readers to understand Christopher's motivations and behavior. So your motivations, these are the reasons, could be one reason, could be multiple reasons, why a person does something. Your motivation makes you act in a certain way. So it's basically we're talking about the why, the reasons. Here's an example. I don't understand Ivy's motivation for quitting her job. She was working for a good company and making a decent amount of money. So, okay, she's not quitting because she's, unhappy with the job or because it's not a good job. So she seems to be, the company's nice, she's getting paid well. I don't understand why. I don't understand the reason. I don't understand the motivation for her quitting. And so motivation is a bit different from behavior.
Because behavior is a noun and it means the way a person or even an animal can act. It's basically how they behave. For example, scientists are studying the behavior of monkeys to see if they're similar to humans. So a behavior can be things like maybe if you wake up in the morning and you're very angry, there's a reason for the way you act that way.
Yeah, basically. So that'll be your behavior. You're behaving in an angry way, but your motivation might be, I hate mornings.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like getting up. I haven't had a coffee yet. So those are motivations, and the behavior is how you act to other people and what you do. So this is really great for this guy, Mark Haddon. People are talking about how good he is, but we see that Haddon stresses that he's no expert on these disorders. Right. So basically saying, yeah, thank you for the praise, but, parents, teachers, doctors, please understand, I'm a writer, I'm not an expert on these, so, thank you, but it's not my best thing. It's not my professional job.
Yeah, remember, he's a writer. He didn't go to school studying this as well. So next it says, one thing's clear from the book, these disorders needn't be something that holds people back. All right, so let's take a look at how we can use needn't. Needn't is just short for need not. Now what you can do is you can put a subject plus need not, or you can shorten it to needn't, N-E-E-D, and apostrophe T, and plus your verb. Now remember, need here is used as a helping verb here. It can be used as a helping verb here, but when you use it as a helping verb, don't forget that your verb at the end has to be in its base form, and you don't have to change it to past tense. For example, we can say, you needn't pay first. Okay, so remember, pay here is still in its original form. And this just basically means you don't need to pay first.
So yeah, need not, don't need to, and that's what we're saying. One of the lessons of this book is, even if people have an autism spectrum disorder and they have trouble interacting or communicating, then doesn't have to hold them back and limit what they can do in their lives. So that's kind of one idea. We next see that in addition, the story is a classic coming of age tale. So there are a lot of stories out there like this, and it's all about the kind of progress from being a child who has lots of things done for you to a grown-up who is able to do things and take responsibility and all that stuff and sort of be more in control. And there are, even to a certain extent, Harry Potter is the early, coming of age. It's about growing, changing, becoming a
An
grown-up.
adult. Yeah, exactly. So next it says Christopher must take responsibility, overcome difficulties, and act like an adult. You know, especially all the things that he went through, right, in the story. He had to take lots of responsibility. Now, responsibility is a noun and it means like a job, a duty, or task you're supposed to do, and other people expect you to do it well. So for example, your responsibility as a student is to graduate from school or to get good grades. For adults, like your parents or even for us, our responsibilities, we have many, but then some of them can be things like, you know, making money and taking care of, your parents take care of you, or you know,
may
adults
take care of your parents.
yourself, or
Yeah.
we take care of our parents, and things like that. These are just your responsibilities.
Yeah, you could have job responsibilities, personal responsibilities, and all sorts.
Okay, we can use in a sentence like this. We can say, Miss Wong gave me the responsibility to collect everyone's report at the end of class.
So we, as well as taking responsibility, we saw that Christopher had to overcome things. Overcome means to deal with a problem or a difficulty successfully. It could also mean to defeat an opponent. You could have one boxer overcoming another in a boxing match, but normally it means you're in a difficult situation, but you come out of it okay. Here's another example. It took Dennis many years to overcome his fear of flying and get onto an airplane.
Right, and in doing so, and in Christopher, you know, having all these experiences, the article then says, in doing so, he learns things about himself and the world. So Christopher learned a lot of things about himself and what he can and cannot do, and he learned a little bit more about reality, because I would imagine he probably spent most of his life in Swindon. He didn't really get out much. So
yeah, and sort of learning about his own, maybe a bit about his own condition and how to deal with the world a little better. And we see in the article that thanks to the decisions he makes and the experiences he has, he's a stronger person by the end of the book. So that's very important. The idea of, in a story, that people have to take decisions and actually do these things, and that is how you would grow. If you don't take the decisions, if you leave it to other people, you're never really going to change and become a stronger person. So something could happen to you and make you stronger, but you happening to the world makes you stronger. So remember that and always think, okay, I'm the one who's in charge, I'm in control, I'm going to make this decision and do something, and that'll make you a stronger person usually, and that'll give you a better idea how to deal with the world, just like Christopher does. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this three-part article, but we're not quite finished. We've got one more For You chat question to do, so let's go to that right now.